finally being able to see what the true first match essential is going to do. And this red motherfucker, he has got his fucking on his high horse so high. He's got that stick so far up his ass, saying like, oh, I'm going to take you out, oh, I'm going to be the best and all that. And Ryou's like, yo, you fucking want to go against me and my lady Alice? You think you're going to go against me? We ain't having that right now. Let's talk about some food wars right now. So like we actually got the little build up of like how they even got to the state of this like match in the first place, where it was like Alice and just like Ryou were just minding their business, and then he comes in saying like, oh yeah, you're a from the Shokugeki, you know, accept all this shit and all that. It's like, oh, but if you're too scared, if you're too scared to do with this shit, then I guess we can just walk up. Like that was the one thing. Like Alice just even said, I don't even give a fuck. Like I don't care. Like I don't want to be the captain of this thing. Do whatever the fuck you want with it. The one thing that ticked off as Ryou is like, no. Wait a minute, you insulting our like cooking, you fucking wannabe side character. And yes, like Alice just called it like a side character, all being just like, yeah, a little bit of the shake, like break at the fourth wall kind of there a bit, but it's like, yeah, listen here, use a bitch like that, your entire little fight is bitch, that bitch that keeps doing that, like that shit like that, I hate that, like, I honestly can't stand her face and anything like that. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go, oh, real cooking with you and with our true little dish, salmon. It's like, bitch, please, Ryou, and I know this is gonna sound ridiculous if Ryou loses, because I'm gonna be mad salt if Ryou actually loses after this battle. I'll be like, no, Ryou. But it's like, even still, it's like, this whole salmon dish is going out, he's putting out the fillet, he's shredded, he's getting rid of all those scales and shit, he's making sure that this is the perfect meal for people, he's making sure that he can bring out his true potential out of this salmon. It's like, what exactly is he going to do with this meal? Because, like, you see from what he's doing, like, he's got bread dough, he's got rice, he's like, what the fuck is he, like, what is Ryou, like, trying to make over here? Like, everyone's, like, trying to guess, like, oh, come at me like that. And, like, either Ryou, he's just, like, come at me with all your might, you pretentious elite bastard, or, like, or do you want to have a convenient excuse when you lose? I was like, that right there, I love that. I was like, yo, you want to fucking go ape shit with me? Alright. And then he's like, yo, get out all the stuff. And turns out what his specialty is like, what he specializes is actually in what Alice specializes in, like, you know, using technology and stuff. I'm like, okay, this would be something like that. But then again, like, if we've remembered, like, all these times, how many times has, like, fucking Ryou actually beaten Alice like that? Like, how many? Like, we've seen that it's like, you know, he's got more wins under that belt. So, obviously, he has more experience with dealing with this kind of stuff. So, I think that's kind of, like more on his advantage on there. I hope that isn't the case, though. Like, it's like, oh, just out of nowhere, he's just going to get this bullshit, like, coming out, like, oh, with a win. But, like, everything looks so far, like, just into his, like, sort of, like, into his range, like, everything that he's working with is, like, really, Alice uses this stuff all the time. It's like, I have a good way to combat this because I'm always just using my own cooking against it, and I always seem to be getting more wins on her. And honestly, with the whole Momo just like being around there, like with Alice and like someone talking about, it's like, oh, she's a kind of little like angry, she don't really care for people. And they're even saying like it takes like a whole month before she even makes eye contact with you. And like I liked that Alice and someone just didn't give a fuck. They were just talking and yucking it up, and then she's just like, I don't care about this shit. Please leave me alone. I don't want none of this shit happening in front of my face. So I'm kind of curious though, like, who is exactly going to go against Momo? Like, a lot of people, like, we don't have a person that specializes in desserts too much, and then like, we don't really have someone that does that, so I'm kind of curious, like, who exactly is going to go. It'd be interesting if Alice tries to do this, because, like, the only time I really think, like, she's done anything like that was, like, way back when she made that real sick-ass, like, egg dish that she did all that time ago. So I'm kind of curious about that, like, what she's going to do, like, when she, like, had the little straw and, like, kind of drank it out, like, I imagine something like that could go down, but honestly, for, like, most of the chapter, we didn't find out too much apart from that this Ren guy, like, oh, he specializes in, like, just the kind of same stuff, and that's why it was explained. It's like, he was after, like, the, like, research club in the first place, because, you know, that's what he specializes in, and, you know, also because of Nikiri's, like, you know, he wants that shit right there. He wants all that stuff, and it's like, that's the exact thing, like, even though, like, Alice says, like, we don't really want, like, her, like, uncle going through all this shit and all that, but it's like, even so, it sounds like she doesn't really give a fuck either way, so I'm honestly curious about mostly what's going to go down in the next chapter, like, because, honestly, like, how it's looking at right now, this guy isn't intimidating at all, and it's just like, oh, you just played right into Ryou's hands right now, because this is what he goes against, like, pretty much near every day against Alice. So, you know, he's been training, so I'm pretty sure, hopefully, that he's got something to counteract this kind of stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to be mad salty when my boy loses. Like, you'd be sitting there, there'll be more salt on that plate than anything. But on that, it was a solid chapter. Wasn't too much to talk about, though. I've got to say, this was kind of the quick read for me. I was going to say that I still think it was a good chapter, though. We got some nice stuff in there. It lost a little bit to them, and then, you know, heating up into the battle. So I definitely give this a 7. I think it's a good chapter, but nothing that was like, oh my god, mind-blowing stuff. So I'm hopefully looking forward to seeing what the actual dishes are next week. Or, like, maybe we might see, like, what he's going to come up with, this Ren guy's going to come up with, and then we're probably going to see Ryou's one. So we'll have to wait and see. But honestly, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about this chapter. But that is all from me. So thank you much for watching as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Take me out!